So my parents moved out to Italy when they were very young. They started making toys for me as a baby. That went from being a passion and a hobby into, I suppose, their business and their careers. I think it was the first influence that I had as a kind of creative person. I spent hours and hours in the workshop with my parents, learning how to use the different tools, learning how to use different materials. All of those skills I actually use today in the buildings that I design. I've not always known what I wanted to do when I grew up. In fact, I think I decided to become or to study architecture quite late on. I think I was always interested in creative industries, but I didn't know that I wanted to do architecture. Even when I finished my first stages of the course, even at that stage I wasn't sure. So I continued to do other things and to explore different industries. When I first graduated, it was just when the recession, the 2008 recession happened, and that was really tough, that was really difficult. So many of my friends really struggled with getting a job, including me. That was really difficult because it really kind of affected my confidence. At the same time, it meant that I maybe pursued other things that I wouldn't have done if that didn't happen. So I was working as a waitress, for some of it. I was working freelance for architecture practices, but I also travelled to New Mexico in the States to work in an earthship community with an architect called Michael Reynolds, and we were building houses that were off-grid using recycled materials. So using tyres and cans, and that was a really incredible experience because it was the first time that I'd actually built buildings. When I came back from the States, I worked again in different offices, but I also started working with State of Play Games, developing this computer game that I think initially we thought would be for a few months, and then eventually that developed into a few years. None of us had a background in computer games, so we were all learning through that process. So I also met my business partner, Hugh McEwen, in my final year of studies. We found that we worked really well together. That continued beyond our studies, and we started working on competitions. We lost a lot of them and we won a few of them. And from that we set up a company. We work on lots of projects at various scales, from houses to shops on high streets, markets, quite a kind of varied portfolio of work. But that's also what we find really, really interesting. So the projects that I'm working on now are very much informed by the things that I was doing when I was making computer games, for example, or when I was making toys. The end result is similar in many ways. It's about creating kind of spaces or objects or things that bring joy to people. I think with each project that you work on, you learn new things and new skills and develop new interests. Not knowing is also okay. Just following your instincts and if it's something that you're interested in, then you will learn a lot from that process. You will learn a lot from university, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if you study architecture that you have to become an architect.